But this is a pretty huge thing that you've done added to your website. The new page, Conspiracy Truth, or Conspiracy Proof, that's what it's called, yeah.
Yeah, proof, yes.
Because there's some stuff in there that I ain't never heard you talk about before. Some big stuff. Well, it's like the more you guys talk about it and write about it, the more sense the whole thing makes. You know, it's not like it's okay, I understand now, it's all right. No, it's more like a holy, you know. Now it makes sense and it makes me mad. Dang, I don't even know where to start. I mean, the page brings out some pretty huge stuff. I just ain't never seen so much of that big story all put into one neat little package, kind of like that, you know.
Well, we couldn't get it out any other way, so that's how our webmaster decided to do it, because we couldn't get it out any other way. So.
Well, I mean, it's an eye-opener. It's really an eye-opener. And I like them dancing pigs. I had to tell you that. Because we were just, we were talking about that last week, and dang if it didn't just...
The other week, yeah.
Must have found it on YouTube, and it's the same video. Still, see, that's good, because that shows that there's other people that knows what a crook this guy is, too. See?
Yeah, it's just good, because it wasn't just us claiming that. They had the feeling in his own home state.
But, I mean, you just said it. I was about to ask, you know, it's got to be a matter of time that, you know, there ain't no big-name journalist willing to take it on and get the whole story out there, you know, because
I don't know why not. Yeah.
What needs to happen, you know.
I know, but nobody seems to be willing to take a step and expose the disgrace of what's going on. Nobody seems to be willing to take a stand, basically.
Man, it's unreal, but I mean, so you're saying, first off, I'm just kind of, from what I read on the page, it's this article that you're mentioning at the beginning of this page, this Biomedical Optics Journal, this article, and you're saying that it was published, this article was published at the same time that you was getting sued by the same people who kind of remotely pushed for these lawsuits to begin with, and probably the ones that's paying off old Lord Snake.
Yeah.
And it's the same people who turned you down, who turned down working with you. 20 years.
Well, that's a statement that has been floating on the web, that they turned us down. That's not quite how the story went. We turned them down because the terms were not acceptable. The terms were, first of all, we need to do something because we cannot make any money with this. That was the first comment. And then second,
well, I even read that in print in the last week. I think Dog Boy's been saying that they mentioned that they couldn't make any profit with a treatment like that.
Right. And then the idea was, well, we're the expert. Give us what you have and go away. That is not a business agreement. That is not a business proposal. That is just dishonesty to the hilt. So we turn them down. And now how that turned around and all of a sudden they turn us down, I don't see how that happened. But
that ain't much of an offer. Here, you give me everything you got, and I'll leave you alone and won't give you nothing.
Yeah,
that's
basically.
My offer.
Well, we got that one several times, believe me, not just once. That offer was made to us. The last time was before we left Arkansas and decided, I just said about enough of this and double-crossing, internal double-crossing. So just before we left, we had the same proposal. Give us everything you have, and we'll let you stay in business. Yeah.
Well, even that, the internal double crossing, this new page is kind of puts that in a little bit more focus too, even, you know.
Yeah.
But but on top of that, and it's the same people that that's been wanting to get you to hand over all your specific details about everything that you do, and. And then, rather than proving what you do is junk science, like, that's what they're saying in the lawsuits, right? That you're pushing junk science. Instead of proving that it's junk science, what do? They turn around and they say some of the same dang stuff in their own journal that you've been saying for 20 years. Except for that.
And not only that, they make it sound like
hockey. That's nothing up. But I mean, for the rest of it, the stuff that you mentioned, that's enough to make anybody get mad.
I know, and there is something else in this particular paper that I want to discuss, but we got a break coming up. We'll talk about it after the break, okay? Okay, we are back again after the break, and we are still talking to Arnie. And one thing I wanted to say is you mentioned the article published by a research group by UAMS, a medical school in Little Rock, and published in the Journal of Biomedical Optics. Okay, and one thing I wanted to add, when you said that, I went and picked out the paper that I had printed out, and I looked at it, okay? The first name that appears in that paper is somebody that we met at a meeting organized by NIH in 2003, after our patent had been granted, after we had done quite a few human testing. We met him, and here it says he's got what kind of title, I don't know. I didn't read it, but anyway, some kind of PhD, by the way, issued by UAMS. He was hired before he even had that. But anyway, and it's basically somebody we met that had really very little knowledge on the subject. It was just trying to find out from us some details on how to proceed because they were encountering serious snags. And, of course, that meeting went nowhere. And we didn't give out any information, and it went nowhere. But what I was trying to say, first of all, this article I'm reading, it was received and revised. The final form was submitted to the journal January 17, 2009. And get this, it was accepted for publication February 14, 2009. That's just a few days. That's just a few days before the ridiculous lawsuit was filed, the first one. Just a few days before.
Just a few days.
And then, just a few days. And then it was put in print, and the journal was put out in March, April, which means when it says March, April 2009, it's usually out, available for purchase at the end of the previous month. So at exact time, even before we were served, that lawsuit was filed. And the interesting thing is that this article has a title. It's not saying photodynamic therapy. It's called nanophoto-thermolysis, which is trying to use an elaborate name to cover up that it's the same old.
But
the
the
same old thing.
on the different aspect of it.
Well, it's not even the different aspect. It's just putting in the name that is actually the thermal effect. But this had been done 4 years before, published by Stanford. And the same similar thing was done at Rice University. But Rice University used a different type of compound. Now, in this article, they are going in great detail how to use the carbon nanotubes, which were developed by Stanford. Here they're trying to make it look like they did this. No, it wasn't. Years before Stanford had done it. Here before had done this work, and years before the Stanford had come out with the answer to this. Here they're trying to make it look like original work because they're changing the name and a few things here and there. They go in great detail how to develop the nanotubes and produce the nanotube, which also make it obvious that you are really not something practical to use on a patient.
I believe you mentioned that much. I believe you mentioned that part on your copycat page about how the previous research that that they used for their nanotubes had already been done. Yeah, you mentioned that on your copycat page a few months ago.
Right, and this paper confirms it too. And that is the other thing. In this paper, they're actually saying, oh, we discovered a very interesting thing. And the temperature that the cancer cell reach and what that means and what they can do. Gee, that has been done without the nanotubes, without the nanotechnology in 1988. In 1988, after we already started our work and we already were going strong trying to get the attention of the medical, there was a paper published at the University of Arizona. Yeah, I think it was in Arizona, about the temperature. It was connected with the radio frequency, radio-fractionated hyperthermia using radio waves. But that's the one that gives you all the temperature. What happened with that particular temperature? What's the effect? We got another break coming up. No, it's not.
It's about science.
It is a mind blower.
It's just basic elementary physics. Total destruction of the concept.
It is a mind blower.
It's not about me. It's about science.
Yes, it is about science, and this was proven years and years ago, the temperature at which human cells die, what temperature and the time exposure, what happens, and what's the damage. This has been done way back, and in Europe has been known for years what hyperthermia does. The problem was how you can get selective, and with radio-fractionated hyperthermia, they were doing relatively, not fully selective, but relatively selective. And then from there, they went into radiofrequency ablation by increasing the temperature tremendously, and it's really not a good deal, but it's better than chemo. But this paper is claiming, see, that's what we're doing, is our original work, and it's a copy, not even a direct copy of our work. It's a copy of somebody that copied us, like I was saying in our copycat.
A copycat, yeah.
Right, because our patent was granted, was applied way before, but it was granted in 2001. And the paper of Stanford with the nanotube doing the same thing we are doing, only using something that was developed with the molecular engineering. That was in 2005. And now this is coming up, oh, we did this and it's original work in 2009. It's ridiculous. And then the dates are really suspicious, you know?
But I mean, I know that all that nanotube bull don't have anything to do with what you did originally. But a lot of what is that true though? That a lot of what they're saying in that article is stuff that you've been saying all along.
Oh, for years.
Okay, so I need to ask you this. I need to ask you this because it's kind of important. Have you gone and personally thanked Dr. Beres and Dr. Zaroff yet for proving to all them institutionalized alphabet soup slinging white coats over there that your research and your methods is valid and true? Because it looks like they done you a favor.
Yeah, but they don't think they have. That's probably why they had the lawsuit being filed. So I couldn't come up and say, see. It's not, you didn't do it. I don't know. No, I haven't thanked him because honestly, if I could do it, I like to hit him with a baseball bat because that's ignorance. It's just ignorance and it's also dishonesty.
They's validating you at the same time they's trying to hurt you.
I know, but also the other one, the paper that the other one put, what's his name? You said, not Zaroff, okay? Vladimir Zaroff. Okay, right. His paper, he was part of this, but his paper is really a paper written by a physicist having fun, okay? And he's talking about the Raman effect, the Raman scattering of the light, which is inelastic scattering, and that's what the Raman scattering is. And he goes on, it's just a typical physics research study, and that is done to support that you, I guess, support what comes after. It has nothing to do with medical.
So it ain't got nothing to do
we
with
got
ramen
another
noodles.
break. It seems that today we start just talking about something and another break comes up. So we're going to continue.